The world around us is full of amazing things, but one of the most amazing aspects of this world are rocks. Believe it or not, rocks might seem, plain and boring at first, but really, rocks can come in many different forms and shapes and compositions. Why, the subject, rocks!
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Science rules.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Inertia is a property of matter.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
T minus 7 seconds.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
This Earth is billions of years old, just as old as all the rocks on the Earth as well. But believe it or not, a large percentage of the rocks on this Earth are actually in liquid form, unlike the ones you see around you. As you can see by this diagram, the Earth is divided into 4 layers. The outer layer of the Earth is called the crust. The crust is the layer on which you and I live, and it is composed of solid rock primarily containing the elements oxygen, silicon, aluminum, and iron. Even though it may not seem like it, the crust is the thinnest layer and occupies the lowest percentage of Earth's mass. The next layer is the mantle. The mantle is the largest layer of the Earth, constituting about 84% of its volume and being 1,800 miles thick on average. Existing in the liquid state, the mantle differs from the crust in density, but is still composed of the same primary elements as the crust. After the mantle comes the outer core. The outer core is in the liquid state like the mantle, but is instead composed primarily of iron and nickel. Measuring about 1,400 miles thick, the outer core is also thinner than the mantle. And finally comes the inner core. The inner core is the hottest layer of the Earth, reaching a temperature of 5,400 degrees Celsius, which is approximately the surface temperature of the Sun. Though it is composed of iron and nickel like the outer core, the inner core exists in the solid state because of the extreme pressure at the center of the Earth. The rocks of the crust that you learned about in the previous section can be divided up into 3 basic groups: sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous. Now, let's take a trip and explore all 3 varieties.
You see, I've been farming this land for 25 years, and if there's one thing I know is fact, Earth is made up of 2 things: soil for growing plants in, and these pesky little rocks that get in the way of my farming.
Well, you see, Farmer Brett, that's a common misconception. In fact, this soil right here and this rock right here are made of the same basic elements. The only difference is, the soil has been broken down by wind and water and other environmental factors. However, the rock is more compact, and the soil has also been mixed with nutrients to help for plant growth.
So, Bill, you're saying that wind and rain and other forces are the key factors in breaking down rocks. But what I believe is that man is the key force in breaking down rocks.
Believe it or not, Brett, forces like you are one of the key factors to forming sedimentary rock, our first type of rock. You see, forces of nature, like this stream right here, break down the rocks in the stream and form very small particles called sediments that flow into a body of water, like this small pond here. And when the sediments are in the pond, they fall to the bottom and deposit on the bottom of the pond. And over time, they compress and form sedimentary rock. So kids, to find our example of sedimentary rock, we will consult Dr. Jonathan Burton in the lab. Tell me more about yourself, John.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jonathan Burton of Finney University that isn't Michigan University. And I have my degree in paleontology. And today we're going to be taking a look at this fossil right here. This fossil right here is the byproduct of millions of years of this seashell, as you can see, pressing up against the sediment in order to form this fossil right here. As my friend Bill here already explained, this fossil is the byproduct of so many, an incomprehensible number of years of this seashell just pressing against sediment at the bottom of the ocean to eventually form a fossil. But to get a relatively accurate reading of just how old this fossil truly is, we're going to go ahead and give it a toss in the good old carbon date meter 5000.
See, kids, this is where the goggles come in. the carbon detonator 5000 releases deadly amounts of dihydrogen monoxide. You see, dihydrogen monoxide enters the bloodstream through the eyes, and once it enters the bloodstream, it can cause paralysis and even death if not treated right away.
Hey, Bill. What? Dihydrogen monoxide is water.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, just joking, kids. Yeah, okay, keep going, John.
But, yeah. So, we're going to go ahead and, I think you can see this one on the camera. But you see here, the carbon detonator 5000 is giving a reading of around 15 to 16 million years. But, I, as a person, I definitely think technology has its merits, but I like to see the math done for itself. So let's take it over to the math board. So we're here at the math board, and I'm just going to give you a little rundown of how this all works. So first we have to let S represent sediment, and then we're going to see that the limit as x approaches infinity and that being said, we're left with the fossil being proven to be a sedimentary rock. All that assuming, of course, that x is indeed not equal to 0.
Man, I'm under a lot of heat and pressure. Believe it or not, these are the perfect conditions to form our second type of rock, which is metamorphic rock. You see, when sedimentary rock sinks down into the earth and gets close to the mantle, the heat of the mantle, along with the downward pressure of the earth's crust, form metamorphic rock. This extreme heat and pressure are the only forces on earth that can form this type of rock. You see, kids, red here can be used as an analogy to represent the formation of our third type of rock, igneous rock. You see, Brett just consumed 5 baconator cheeseburgers with a large fry, and the uneasiness of his stomach represents the uneasiness of the magma in the Earth's mantle. See, when that magma builds up enough pressure, it can sometimes protrude through the earth, just like Brett's stomach contents will protrude through the orifice of his face. Now, once that magma protrudes through the surface of the earth, it forms lava. And that lava, once it reaches the surface of the earth, it cools and forms igneous rock. Isn't science just amazing? Igneous rock, as you previously learned, flows out of the earth in the form of lava. Now, there are such things as underwater volcanoes. When one of those underwater volcanoes builds up and breaches the surface of the ocean, a new island can be formed completely out of igneous rock. When igneous rock first breaches the surface of the ocean, it looks like a barren wasteland, like this picture right here. But, after many years of primary succession, new forms of life begin to colonize the island and grow to form an island teeming with life, such as this one right here. That is a great real-world example of the application of igneous rock. Today, we will be running a lab that will help you explore the different phases of the rock cycle. First, and most importantly, put on a pair of well-fitting rubber gloves and safety goggles. Once the gloves and goggles are securely fastened to your body, construct 3 piles of chocolate chips, with 5 chips in each pile. Each chocolate chip color represents a different type of sedimentary rock. Then, gather all the chocolate chips into your hand and squeeze your hands together as hard as you can. The body heat released by your hand, along with the pressure you're applying, are similar to the heat and pressure deep within the Earth's crust. After you've squeezed your chocolate chips for approximately 2 minutes, your end product should look similar to this. What you now have is your own version of metamorphic rock, which is formed by heat and pressure. Next, place your metamorphic rock on a triple folded napkin and carry it over to the microwave of science. Carefully insert your metamorphic rock into the microwave of science, close the door, and enter a time of 1 minute. Then observe as your solid ball of chocolate chips gradually melts into liquid form. Then, remove your rock from the microwave and examine, but don't touch, the resulting specimen. Your rock has melted into magma just as the metamorphic rock in the lower layer of Earth's crust does. Now, return your melted rock back to your lab station and wait approximately 10 minutes for it to cool. Just as lava cools and hardens on the surface of the Earth after a volcanic eruption, your melted chocolate chips are cooling and hardening after being removed from the microwave. Now that your rock is hardened to form igneous rock, you may now pick it up and analyze its qualities. After that, you can clean up your lab station and give yourself a pat on the back for a job well done. Now that you've discovered all the interesting aspects of rocks, you can go out and tell your family and friends about all the new facts you've learned, and ultimately about how amazing this Earth is.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Science rules.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Inertia is a property of matter.
Bill